And it's a good morning to the Gelding on a fairly windy day with group racing back at the Heath, Gelding. And I believe that you're going to be heading off there sometime later this afternoon.
Yes, good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. We'll be heading over to the Heath at Caulfield. Professor, Group 1 racing returns with the CF4 stakes. So let's see how we go.
Now, Gelding, for those who don't know, why is Caulfield called the Heath?
Not exactly too sure, Professor. Have you got some
clean bold?
Clean
Gelding.
bold.
Can you hear that? Can you hear the stunts cartwheeling out of the ground?
The bat's under the arms, Professor. I'm walking off swearing.
I tell you what, Gelding, if ever I was absolutely certain of not having to ask you a question before the show, I felt, that's the short-priced odds-on favourite being beaten by 3-4 lengths.
Professor, I should know because, as we know, Dad was apprenticed when he was riding at Caulfield, so I've been going there for over 60 years. So you've got me.
Gelding.
I'm one of the professor's questions without notice, and you finally got me.
All right, Gelding, look, there's 9 races on the card, and as you said...
Do you know, Professor?
Sorry?
Do you know?
No, but I will.
Okay, yes, we'll find that out.
No, Gelding, I wasn't being smart. I wasn't asking you the question I knew the answer to.
No,
I didn't know the answer. That's why I felt sure that you'd get it.
I'd like to know, actually. So if you can find out, that'd be good.
All right. And group racing's back. You're right there. 7 group races, Gelding, culminating with the CF4 stakes. First race at 12:40 p.m. The track's rated a good 4, but with this wind, it might dry out a little bit. And the rail's in the true position. So what are your thoughts on who that favours at Caulfield if the rail's in the true position?
Well, Professor, normally true position, good track at Caulfield. Certainly doesn't hurt you to be leading or on pace. So normally I would have been looking for those horses, Professor, but the Weather Bureau has predicted a rather strong northerly breeze. And if there's a northerly breeze, that hits them when they're running down the side, basically, from the 1,200, 1,100 metre mark till they come to the turn. So if that's the case, it's always good to look for horses that are got a nice little sit, Professor, behind them. So I'd be looking for horses running in this. Look, at the moment, there's not a breath of wind at Caulfield. But as you said, Professor, if it continues to rain, continues to blow a gale as it is out your neck of the woods, and that comes to Caulfield, will be, I'll be looking for things sitting 5th or 6th, 3rd, 4th, just with a little bit of cover, which will be very interesting because my 2 tips, Professor, I'm going to bookends, race 8 and race 9. If I can start with what I think the bet of the day at Caulfield is, if you can wait till the last race, Professor, number 1, Probabile, Jamie Richards, Brett Preble. Last campaign started off with a win over 1,200 at Caulfield. As you well know, Professor, she's one of our favourite horses, Probabile. Group 1 class horse. I was surprised not to see her start in the CF4, Professor, but they've obviously got bigger plans for her to come. 28 starts for 12 wins, over $4 million in prize money, Professor. A Sababile starting a pet distance is probably a mile. But on this track, she's had 5 starts for 4 wins. The distance, 7 starts, 4 wins. First up, 6 starts for 3 wins and 2 seconds, Professor. So all of those things tick the boxes. So we'll be going probable in the last. Be a little bit careful. I think she'll be short because I think she'll be the last leg in most people's parlays, Professor, as she will be in ours. So, I think a lot of parlay bets will go into her, which may make her shorter than say she should be. I know personally. Yeah, I got on yesterday at $2, Professor, but I think she'll be a bit shorter than that.
All right,
My
your second one?
Second bet of the day, Professor. Going in the main race, the CF4 Stakes. I did like a couple in the 2-year-old races, Professor, as I texted you last night. But then I thought about it, and you know what? There's nothing wrong. Look for the best horses and back them. That's not a bad little theory, Professor. So the one I'm going for is race 8, number 1. I'm Thunderstruck. Mick Price, Mick Kent, ridden by Guy McNeil, our leading jockey at the moment. This horse took all before it last start, Professor. Has some big targets in mind, and I did hear Mick Price being interviewed, and he's saying that this horse will improve with racing, and he put a bit of the slows on the horse, saying it's only had 1 jump out, not 2. But then I had a look at some of the boxes we like to tick, Professor. 9 starts for 6 wins, prize money of over $5 million. This track, 5 starts for 2 wins and 2/3. One of those thirds was a very unlucky third in a Group 1. Rupert Clark, we were on it that day, Professor. Should have won, but a bit of bad luck. First up, 2 starts for 2 wins, Professor. So we're getting $6, so we're getting good each way odds, Professor. I think it's going to be the best horse going forward out of this race, even though there's some very good horses in it. I do like Sinner 1, number 7, and one of our favourites, which I might have a little saver on, Professor, is number 11, Lighthouse. Done nothing wrong, was unlucky last start. But look, it ran about the $6 the each way mark, Professor. I'm happy to hope that Mick Price and Michael Kent have got this horse fit enough to win first up, and hope it's flashing down the outside at $6, Professor. I could not back it knowing that.
All right, Gelding, that sounds like 2 very good bets.
You, Professor?
Well, Gelding, you're right. We're bookending. You're race 8 and 9. I'm race 1 and 2. So they're probably 2 of the best bookends we'll ever get. Yeah,
well, we certainly have got the bookends, Professor.
All right, race 1, Gelding, benchmark 84 race over 1,400 metres. I like in that race horse 9, Unanimous, coming out of barrier 6. 13 starts for 2 wins and 5 placings, 15% win rate, 54% place rate. But it's had a win and 3 placings over its last 4 starts, and it was an unlucky second at Moonee Valley on its last start. So, I always think winning form's good form, and its form over the last 4 can't be faulted. The favourite's carrying 5 kilos extra, and I think it's suspect over this distance. So, all in all, Jamie Carr's aboard. She's in career form, 17% usual win rate, 22% at the moment. So she's gradually getting that win rate back up. And Ma Eustace,
she's been hot since she's come back, Professor.
Yes, Gelding, and Ma Eustace can't put a foot wrong at the moment. They've got career win rating at 22% at the moment. It's won over the distance. The favourite hasn't. So for all those reasons, I'm going with Unanimous. By the way, the favourite is in the boat. 8 wins for 5 starts and 3 placings. So it's in the money 100% of the time. So it'll be thereabouts. As a saver, I'd suggest a couple of units on the Quinella, Gelding.
Oh, well, in the boat will probably lead, Professor. But as you said, there's nothing wrong backing a Ma Eustace trained horse ridden by Jamie Carr.
Yeah.
Not a bad combination. And as you said, this horse has been round about the money. So a little bit of luck in running. I'm a bit worried about you saying you're worried about in the boat over the distance, but, it hasn't won at 1,400. It's won up to 1,300. But as you said, if it's leading and there's a headwind, it may suit something just sitting behind them at 5-1, Professor. Again, a beautiful each way bet.
Well, that's right, Gelding, and you can currently get $2.30 for the place. So that's not bad place odds for a $5 horse.
In a 9-horse field, Professor.
Exactly. All right, Gelding.
All right, your second pick?
Yeah, race 2, the Group 2 1,400 metre race. I'm going for Coast Watch in that one, horse 1. Coming out of barrier 2, it's had 11 starts for 2 wins and 4 placings. 18% win rate, 55% place rate. But what I like, Gelding, it's run in 5 group races. Unplaced in 1, second in a group 3, first in a group 3, third in a group 1, second in a group 2. That's pretty good company, Gelding. Its win place rating over in its group races, 20% win, 80% place. So if you've got a horse that's placing 80% of the times in group races, it's certainly one to have a look at in a race like this.
Oh, Professor, I like it. I really like your tip for reading each way. First up, this is a horse that ran third to Animo in the Golden Rose.
Yes.
Animo would be week's odds if it started in this race. So what was it beaten? Under 2 lengths, a length and a half away in third spot from what could possibly be the best, a future best horse in Australia in Animo. So then you're getting $4.50, Professor, for that kind of form. First up, it's won first up out of 3 goes. Trained by leading trainer Chris Waller. And one of your favourites, Professor, Craig Williams in the saddle.
Not one of my favourites, Gelding, but I'm
more like Professor. Sorry,
I thought that might be tongue in cheek, Gelding.
Okay,
but
let's hope we're not Willow.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed on this one, Gelding.
I like the bet, Professor.
All right, Gelding, you can currently get $4. So I think that's for a horse that's done so well in group races before. I think $4 is a pretty good price.
As I said to you before, Professor, it's a top weight because it's the best performed horse.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with backing that number 1 saddle cloth normally.
All right, Gelding, let's look at the very successful Professor's Parlay. Coming off a win last week, we got all 3 legs up. It was a clever move by you, suggesting that Parlay was the best bet of the day because it saluted nicely in New South Wales. And how about we use that again, Gelding, that the horse that we think's got the best chance today is in race 7 in Sydney, horse 8 Espiona. Waller and McDonald together, you can't beat that, can you?
And the horse is unbeaten out of 2 starts. And anyone who saw this horse win on Oaks Day during the Flemington Carnival, this horse in a sprint race won by 6.5 lengths, Professor. It just absolutely killed them. It's had a jump out for the return to racing today. I just happened to run third to, hard held in a trial with Nature Strip. Well, the Everest winner. It's in a $1,200, a $2,000 race, 3-year-old fillies, Group 2. I think all they'll be seeing is the backside of a rather nice, attractive grey horse, Professor. So, I think it's the bet of the day. Of course, one of my other favourites is in race 8, Very Elegant. But first up, I might have a little wager on it, Professor. But, we're talking about the very, very successful Professor's Parlay here. So we want to get the winner in the horse race, Professor. And as I said, I think Espiano is the bet of the day in Australia.
Well, that's in the Professor's Parlay, Gelding. So we'll note that one down, and let's parlay
Your other
that.
legs?
Sorry, Gelding?
Your other legs, Professor?
The other legs, let's parlay that into the Premier League soccer. Manchester City hasn't put a foot wrong. They're leading the table. 79% win rate, if you don't mind, Gelding. A goal difference of plus 43, the best in the Premier League. And they're playing away to Norwich City. Norwich City having a terrible season. They've got a 17% win rate. They're currently sitting 18th out of 20. And the worst defence in the Premier League, minus 32 goal difference. Gelding, what happens when the best goal difference meets the worst goal difference? Normally, the team with the best goal difference wins.
You hope, Professor.
Well, we hope.
We hope.
And let's parlay that into Melbourne playing at home at Casey.
You know the soccer worries me.
Sorry, Gelding?
You know the soccer worries me.
Yeah, I know the soccer worries you, Gelding.
Okay.
All
There's
right.
that little thing called a draw and all that, just, yeah. Anyway, it's been successful for us. Let's keep it going.
All right, Gelding. Let's parlay that into AFLW, Melbourne playing at home at Casey to beat the Greater Western Sydney Giants. Greater Western Sydney didn't play last week because of COVID protocols, so they'll probably be a bit underdone. Their form hasn't been great. They've been smashed by Fremantle and North Melbourne. Melbourne are in Freos and Greater Western in North Melbourne's category of teams. So Melbourne's got an 80% win rate, the second highest points for score. Greater Western Sydney only a 50% win rate, the fifth lowest for points. So Melbourne at home to beat Greater Western Sydney, into Manchester City to beat Norwich City, into Espiona in Sydney, and that is showing currently 2-1, Gelding.
Professor, a bit skinny on the odds, but as we said, you'd rather have a small ticket winning than just a piece of paper. So let's hope that gets up. I know you and Sarah have been in fine form in your tipping in the AFL women's competition. So I have great faith this year that Melbourne not only can win today, but can also win the flag for you, Professor, and you get the double up.
Yeah, it's interesting that you talk about that, Gelding. In our pre-season preview, I tipped the big mover in AFLW this season to be the Gold Coast Suns.
Okay.
They finished on the bottom last year. Currently sitting seventh, Gelding, and won last night. They beat Geelong. So I think my tip that they might make the final six, I'm not too far away at the moment. I only wish I had to put money on it.
Oh, well, it's not too late, Professor. You just may be getting a bit shorter odds. So there's something to consider. And I know the Giraffe follows you and Sarah in the tipping of the AFLW. So, yeah, he has great faith in you. And each week, if the listeners listening, if they're looking for a multiple bet, for the footy weekends and things like that, doesn't have to be a big bet if you have a multiplier. You can do worse and listen to the Professor's and Sarah's tips and put them in a multiplier, Professor.
Exactly right, Gelding. Listen, before we go today, one horse I wanted to mention at Caulfield in race 5, horse 13, a horse that you and I followed and were on it the last time at one, Gillette.
Yes.
I think it's worth a place bet. It's currently showing $8 the place.
Oh.
I think it'll run in the first three. I probably don't think it will win, but it's certainly worth our viewers watching to maybe take a place bet. $8 it just seems like really good odds.
Maybe do a can I suggest, Professor, maybe a 1x3 type of bet, 1 unit the win and 3 the place.
There you go, Gelding.
Just in case it gets up at the good odd juicy odds of $30 in the paper. As you said, we've been on it. Last 3 starts as 3, 1 and 2. So if you back it each way like that, you're certainly not losing. And Paddy Maloney, as you know, a bit of a favourite jockey of ours. He can get a horse up at long odds. A bit like Sportsfan Radio's Robbo used to get them up.
Yeah, exactly right, Gelding. All right, now, Sportsfan Radio tomorrow, you won't be a starter. You've got family matters to attend to.
Family commitments tomorrow, Professor.
Yeah,
we'll be on 2 grandkids.
We'll be on talking sport and trying to keep Paul Daligan quiet. We'll be able to talk sport. I don't think we'll be able to keep Paul quiet.
Yeah, have you delegated 30 minutes to Paul?
Oh, at least.
At least.
I know you couldn't get a word in last week when you were trying.
We tried very hard, didn't we? But, you know what? I hope he hadn't had any red cordial because he's all over the shop anyway. But yeah, the Giraffe's a good character though, Professor. And he knows his rugby league.
Mate, we do make fun of him at times, but he's a tremendous contributor to the show.
Now, just a little tip for tomorrow, maybe, Professor, in the Super Bowl.
Oh, on Monday.
Yes, for Monday.
Yeah, the Rams. Get on
the Rams.
Yep.
Okay. Because they beat you all mob, Green Bay?
No, we actually beat them during the season.
All right.
We lost the 49ers in the
49ers, sorry, yeah.
But no, the Rams have got a swarming defence. I think they'll make life too hard for the Cincinnati quarterback, Joe Burrows. All the Rams quarterback has got to do is not throw interceptions. So we've got our fingers crossed for that.
All right.
Gelding, what our viewers can do is subscribe to our Sportsfan Radio channel, and they'll see not only Sportsfan Radio on a Sunday, but they'll also get That's Racing every Saturday. And not only that, they'll also get the AFL program with Sarah and I when we do it. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the program, and forward us so other people can watch.
Okay, Professor. Sounds like something very good that everyone can do. And they'll get 3 very good shows, Professor.
Exactly, Gelding. And not only that, we're now on podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Sportsfan Radio interviews. There are 4 up at the moment. Grant Thomas, Amy McCann, first part of Cameron Schwab.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how's Cooter dealing with all this fame being on all these social platforms?
I think he's enjoying it, Gelding.
He's enjoying a bit of the fame, is he, Professor?
I think he is, Gelding. I think he's enjoying a lot of the fame.
Beautiful.
All right, Gelding. Well, good luck on your trip to the Heath today. And by the way, the Heath
is
in the 1800s, when the course was first mapped out, it was mapped out as the Heath. So Caulfield Racecourse started its journey actually called the Heath.
That explains it then, Professor. I know that used to be a bit of a wetlands there.
Yes.
And ponds and stuff like that. I was thinking it might have gone that way, but the Heath, very good, Professor.
All right, Gelding, until next Saturday, it's good luck.
And good punting.